Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're anything like me, you probably love a good open world game. There's just something special about diving into a massive, explorable universe. But for every huge hit like Grand Theft Auto, there are countless other open world games that, for one reason or another, didn't quite make it or faded into obscurity. Maybe they had fantastic ideas but stumbled on execution, or perhaps they were just ahead of their time. Today, we're digging deep to unearth some of these forgotten open-world gems that we believe truly deserve a second chance, a full-blown remake that could finally let their true potential shine. It's kind of surprising we don't have more games that play on that awesome Mad Max aesthetic of a scrappy, every-person-for-themselves post-apocalyptic setting. I mean, besides Fallout, and obviously the Mad Max game itself, it's such a perfect setting for an open world, but there's really only one other game we can think of that tried it. Rage. This 2011 production from ID Software and Bethesda was actually the very last game made under the supervision of the legendary game developer, John Carmack. It's set in a post-apocalyptic desert wasteland where your only real buddies are your gun and your car. The game puts a big emphasis on vehicular combat, letting you customize your ride and take on races and battles all over the map. Rage did okay, and it even got a sequel, but for a production with its pedigree, okay just feels a little lacking. A big complaint from critics was a lack of direction, with the open world being huge but functionally empty. Maybe narrowing the scope just a tiny bit could do a potential remake some real good. Remember those super wild game shows that aired on Nickelodeon in the 90s? You know, the ones full of ridiculous stunts, bizarre contraptions, and buckets of colorful slime? Well, what if you took all of those elements and mashed them together with a third-person open-world shooter? You'd get Sunset Overdrive, emerging from a massive puddle of radioactive goo with a mildly annoying, self-aware smirk. Sunset Overdrive is all about movement and momentum. Seriously, if you stand still while playing this game, you're doing it wrong. Whether you're bouncing off cars or grinding on rails, you're encouraged to keep that momentum going as you travel and shoot. This isn't just for your own safety, but also to build up your style meter. As your style increases, you can use more powerful weapons and abilities to cause gleeful chaos all around you. It's not super clear why Sunset Overdrive didn't do so well, maybe aside from its mildly Whedon-esque writing full of snark and quips. But besides a few obnoxious missions, the game is generally a lot of fun, especially once you get into that high-speed flow. A remake would only need a few tweaks and maybe a couple of rewrites. Most open-world crime games are set in some kind of Western city, like Los Angeles or Miami, and usually deal with equally Western crime organizations like street gangs or the mafia. But one major game that tried to shake things up was 2012's Sleeping Dogs. It took us to the vibrant streets of Hong Kong and into the battles of the triads. The game has all the usual stuff you'd expect from a crime sandbox, from driving to shooting to a big city full of different distractions to mess with. The big thing that makes it stand out is a greater emphasis on melee combat, especially martial arts. In a big punch-up, you can take on a bunch of dudes at once, countering and throwing them around in a similar way to the Batman Arkham games. Sleeping Dogs was really well liked by the gaming public, but it didn't hit its sales goals and was ultimately written off by Square Enix. As Grand Theft Auto games get bigger and more expensive, maybe Sleeping Dogs could be re-released as a diet option for players who aren't super into GTA. Speaking of open-world games with dog in the name, 2014's Watch Dogs was one of Ubisoft's biggest new IP launches since the original Assassin's Creed. This game was supposed to be the company's own answer to the crime sandbox craze, but with a focus on high-tech hacker crime. While you're freely roaming throughout Chicago in the not-too-distant future, driving cars and shooting jerks, your secret weapon is your smartphone. Using your phone, you can hack just about any nearby piece of technology and make it work for you. Think deploying barricades to stop cop cars or moving cranes to create footholds. You can also hack and steal information and money from pretty much any pedestrian on the street, though keeping your hacking efforts on the good side will help improve your reputation with the people. The problem here isn't really with Watch Dogs itself, but more with its legacy. The original game did great, but later Watch Dogs games, especially Legion, have shown diminishing returns as the concept has gotten a bit muddled. Reworking the original might help the IP get back into everyone's good graces. Many open-world games, especially those with a military vibe, have some kind of liberation mechanic. Basically, destroying enemy forces in one area turns that area to your side and strengthens your presence on the map. One game that did this with a bit of stylistic flair was 2009's The Saboteur. The Saboteur follows Sean, a race car driver who becomes an espionage specialist fighting against the Nazi forces occupying World War II-era Paris. By attacking Nazi bases and checkpoints, you'll gradually weaken their forces in the city, freeing its districts from their control. As districts are freed, their monochrome palettes are returned to color, and French freedom fighters will join you in the streets to drive off any lingering soldiers. Those who played the Saboteur generally liked its sense of style and overall gameplay, though a bunch of technical problems really held it back. A properly tuned remake would be a great mix of open-world gameplay and something a little more unique. Just Cause 2 was a super popular game, with its combination of a massive archipelago map and free-flying parachute and grappling mechanics, making it a huge hit for open-world fans. But what about the game that came before it? The often forgotten Just Cause with no number attached. Much like its sequels, the original 2006 Just Cause focused on combining vehicular action with high-flying movement, using cool tricks like an instantly deployable parachute and skydiving to launch yourself all over the place. Besides story missions, you can freely explore the map, taking down bases and generally messing with criminal cartels to increase your own influence. The original game had really good foundations, which is how the sequel was able to build something even better. Considering the reception to Just Cause 3 and 4 has been pretty lukewarm at best, rolling things back might actually benefit the series, though they might want to consider adding some elements from Just Cause 2, like the grappling hook. In the original Red Faction game, destruction was the main event, with its special engine letting you blow up pretty much any solid object or terrain. The series' third entry, Red Faction Guerrilla, toned down the mass destruction a bit, focusing instead on targeted, creative destruction. In Red Faction Guerrilla, you can't destroy the terrain, but pretty much everything else is fair game. Whether it's with explosives or your trusty sledgehammer, you can break and smash into just about any standing building or emplacement. This gives you some extra freedom in approaching missions. You could just blow everything up with a rocket launcher, but you can also sledge your way into the back of a compound and go the quieter route, relatively speaking. Guerrilla was the last open-world game in the Red Faction series, with the next game, Armageddon, being a strictly linear affair and also not very good. Guerrilla struck the best balance between open-world gameplay and destruction, and would be a great remake subject for getting the IP back on track. If you're not going to center your open world game around cars, you need one heck of a good movement gimmick to make up the difference. Superpowers are always a good candidate for this, and there's few superpowers as cool as gravity manipulation. That's what you'll find at the heart of Gravity Rush. In Gravity Rush, our protagonist, Kat, has the ability to freely manipulate her localized gravitational pull. She can make herself fall down, up, sideways, or any other way. With this ability, you can freely fall through the air, walk on walls, and perform gravity-weighted flying kicks on enemies. Gravity Rush was originally released on the PS Vita, then got both a remaster and a sequel on the PlayStation 4. Unfortunately, none of these games did very well in sales. This might be because the original was a bit of a niche game released on a very niche platform, which costed its brand recognition on the PS4. Doing the original again and making sure it's multi-platform might help get it the recognition it truly deserves. We don't claim to know exactly how the whole game development process works, but we like to imagine that at least a few games must have sprung up from really cool names. For example, what's a cool name to refer to someone who does stuff with technology? Why, the Technomancer, of course. 2016's Technomancer was an open-world action RPG in the vein of Mass Effect or Deus. As one of the titular Technomancers, our protagonist, Zachariah, can shoot cool lightning blasts out of his hands, which he uses to either help or mess with people depending on your preferred moral alignment. Build up your party, travel around, beat up punks, you get the idea. Technomancer has a very cool central concept and some good technical bones, but it was severely lacking in distinguishing features, not to mention an interesting plot. The setting definitely has some meat on it, so a remake that goes more into what a Technomancer can actually do could be something special. So, there you have it, a list of forgotten open-world games that we think are just begging for a remake. What do you guys think? Did we miss any? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.